So we're going to dive into possibilities, protection, feeling, stories, imagination. So let's breathe together as we dive into possibilities. So breathing in, and the air reminds us as we look at possibilities and storylines, protection, addiction, immersion, imagination, the distractions and the dissatisfaction. What an epic movie it would be. And it is. And the breath we breathe in is active possibility. So let's feel it coming into our nose, diving into our lungs, merging with our body. And understand this breath is possibility and potential because it feeds our life, our choice. That with each breath, we get to choose our next activity, passion, our next story to follow, our next protection, our next dissatisfaction. That each breath is ours to choose how this life energy is going to function through us and all the possibilities. Because we, as the energy of all that is, have choice. Wait, what about my circumstances? What about my cash flow? Doesn't that limit only for a time? It's the place you start from, but it's not the destination. And to open to possibilities, it cannot just be solely based on your current circumstance, but who you are beyond circumstance. And thus we are back to possibility. And the first layer we have to work through with possibility is protection. See, I want to feel something. I want to feel romance. So I watch those movies, read those books, listen to those stories, so that I safely feel the excitement without putting my chips on the table completely. I'm protected. I'm feeling it, but not completely risking it. And so I look at where I'm protecting me by experiencing it in this way. And I blend it with the fact that there's nothing wrong with that storyline. There's nothing wrong with how it makes me feel. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the excitement of immersing myself in what that feels like through a storyline. Because see, I'm always immersing myself in storylines. There's always a book playing in my head, telling me who I am, what I can do, how my circumstances affect me. And so, yeah, I'll turn the TV on and watch a movie I'll read a book to escape the storyline that plays in my head about me. And I could mute that channel and not listen to it. But I run to the distraction. I run to the addiction because I protect myself from the story that plays in my head about me. Because it's so dissatisfying. It's so the same. It's so mundane. It's so tragic. It's so who, name it. What plays in yours? So we run to a book or a movie or a thing where the storyline's already written, where it works out in the end, where we figured it out and we had the passion and the experience. And someone else wrote that storyline with a guaranteed ending of happiness. And who wrote the storylines in your head? Events, interactions, beliefs. You partly did it, but also the world told you. It expressed, this is who you are, this is what you should do, this is what you should be. Didn't really talk to you about your possibilities, but if it did, then oh, you've got to achieve it all. You've got to be the CEO, the corporate bigwig, the billionaire. Never be satisfied with yourself. Never just start the story and meet the guy or the girl and it works out. No, there's too much wrong with me. And the romance novel that started with she was going to meet somebody, but then she discovered she had too much wrong with her, so she spent her life trying to work through these problems and deal with that. And then when she finally got it together, she looked out the door and oh no, that nobody wants to write that story. Because they'd have to face too much of the protection to get to the possibility. And that's why we do it. And it's okay. Let's enjoy a good Hallmark movie, a good romance novel, a good distraction. And then let's breathe in the possibilities that can face the places we protect ourselves. Because when I look at my storyline, when I am the main character, it's a whole different thing. What if I don't like what I see? What if I don't like me? What if I failed? What if I screwed it up? What if I can't attain these possibilities? What if I try and fail? What do I do with my feelings about me? And you don't need to protect yourself from you. And you don't need to protect yourself from the possibilities that you are, the potentials. We're trying to protect ourselves from failure to reach them, from who we would think we are if we failed. And guess what? You'd be the same magnificent being, whether you succeeded or failed. But that's not in our written storylines in our heads. Success only, good only. But there's been so many beautiful potentials that began with what looked like failure. But hey, I understand. I don't like those either. They're not fun, and we protect ourselves. So let's breathe in possibility together that comes with the resources to look at the places where we're afraid. And let's realize that our imagination can rewrite a story, but we may have to change the channel that was playing in our mind, change the story that automatically comes to the front. And let's get comfortable with the desires that come to us because they feed those possibilities and they bump into those protections. And let's write the movie that we want to live first in our imagination. Isn't imagination silly though? It's not real. Imagination collects the energy for possibility to become reality. It gives it a home, an image, and a direction. So breathing in this air outside of us that feeds us life, that merges with our lungs and goes into our bloodstream. It merges with our body first to support it and leans into the being that we are to choose the possibilities that we want. See, the breath doesn't feed your thoughts. It feeds your body. It feeds your being and trusts in your choice and guidance of how to use it for any possibility that you want. That's how much it believes in you and leans into your own power, your choice to guide towards the possibilities. So letting it storehouse in our bodies, breathing in, recognizing that this isn't only breath, but it's possibility and potential. Letting it support the body and taking our focus into where it merges with our body. Because in that way we're saying, I'm moving my focus to my being versus feeding the possibilities and potentials of my thinking, which is mostly focused on protecting me. So we breathe in into our lungs, feeling where the breath merges into the lungs, feeling the calmness that it brings, the resting potential of imagination in the lungs. And that resting potential is like stillness. And so I breathe into that stillness where breath, possibility, and being merge. And then I take my focus into that stillness. And I rest with myself. I rest with myself. Because there are so many directions, potentials, possibilities. And what is important to me, the being, which does influence what I enjoy, what I want to experience. And maybe this time I don't reach for every single one, right? I'm practicing. So I pick, but not the mind. See how quickly right there the mind is like, oh, now let me think. So then I refocus with the breath, breathing into that center again, that stillness. I breathe in the possibility, the energy of that as breath into my being. Then without words, I allow. I allow stillness and ease with who I am right now. I allow it to calm the parts of me that are afraid and want protection from failure, from not getting what I want. And I sit in the stillness as I allow that possibility, potential energy to rise from this space and calm my thinking. I don't merge with my thinking. I just allow this energy to bring the mind to stillness too. And then I allow in this stillness a screen to appear. And on that screen, a potential, a possibility to appear. I begin to see me walking towards that possibility, that potential. I allow the scene to be painted by a desire. And I breathe the breath of possibility to put a ring of protection around the screen as I imagine it. Because my thoughts want to have things to say about it. And they're just books I don't need to read anymore. They're audio books I don't need to listen to, and they're movies that do nothing for me. So this ring of protection puts a box beside that and lets all those thoughts go in there so that I can remove that box later and give it back as energy to breath versus listen and focus on it. So any thought that comes up that isn't supportive of this goes in that box. And I breathe into stillness again, and I look at that movie that's being projected from my being with a possibility that I desire. And I let it create me a 10-second scene of what that would look like. Not me striving for it, not me hoping for it, but me enjoying it. And I let it play, repeat, repeat, repeat. and let it form very clearly. Get the image clear. This little 10-second image. And it's not in the future, it's right now happening. And then I move that screen around and I make sure that it has clarity of color. Maybe there's even something that's said, like a reminding mantra. And I'll watch it multiple times, adding more and more detail to it. The sounds that would be in it, the smells of it, and the feeling of it. And I breathe the breath of possibility into that feeling that I get from it. And it feels so good. I might get more addicted to this than a movie or a book. Might get addicted to the imagination of the possibilities of the life I'm living than someone else's or what they say. And I breathe back in and I feel that feeling. And any thoughts of my mind that wanted to dissuade me from that go in the box. And I breathe possibility again into the feeling I get from this movie, this little 10-second movie, with its sounds, with its colors, with its tastes and smell. And then I move that screen closer and closer to me. So that it's not a movie that I'm looking at. That my focus in this movie and this feeling that I want from it, that feels like I have it, that actually doesn't just feel like I have it, but is the feeling of it happening. The relief, the joy, the excitement, the pleasure, the happiness, the excitement. And I move that visual so close in that it becomes like 3D all around me. And the breath and the focus and the possibility and the imagination and the feeling and the being are all experiencing it. And let it play over and over. Then I keep breathing into the feeling as it's happening. And I continue to hold this focus. This feeling, breathing in possibility to it and potentiality to it. Then I realize, no, now it's moved. It's no longer possibility or potentiality. I breathe into the feeling that having it gives me. And you'll know that feeling and you breathe into it. And I keep breathing into that feeling and I allow that feeling to merge into every cell of my body. That vibration to be added to every cell of my body. And how it feels in every chakra. First, I focus it right at the root chakra or the groin area or wherever you want to call it. And I just let it build there. And I let it run down my legs and through my feet to the ground and into the earth. And find that matching vibration in the earth so that each step guides me the direction because it's already happening. So it's a known path now. And since it's a known path, I'm not walking towards it, I'm walking in it, already happening. And I let that settle in my body, the awareness that it is. So I'm already walking in it and not waiting. And I let it come up my body to the next area, and we can call it a chakra or whatever we want, but we do it in our belly. And near our belly button, and we let it just hang out and loosen up and breathe and vibrate there. And then into our tummy, loosen up and vibrate there so that each part of our body recognizes the vibration of this existence, which already is. And then into our gut, our solar plexus. And then into our chest. Taking your time. You got time for this. You're creating your own life. You being of all possibility, having selected one. Enjoy it. Enjoy how it feels moving up through your entire body. And then into your chest, where you breathe into that reality. You let life's vibration that is fully supportive of the wisdom that you are breathe into this reality. You let it enter your throat so that your conversations speak the vibration of this into existence and confirms it in that little 10-second mantra. You speak of it. I love this for me. I'm enjoying this so much. And then into our foreheads, our third eye, and its visions and connections. And we breathe it into that, allowing ourselves to see it, to be immersed in it all around us, shared with that thinking area of our mind that is also creative. This is what it feels like. And it begins to connect to the matching vibrations of everything within it. And it touches the connections that are a part of it. And then we share it up to the top of our heads and our crowns. For full alignment with the being that we are. And our connection to all that is, and we share it with all that is. And all that is says yes, of course, darling. Yes, of course, darling. And any thoughts that interfere with that, you put them in the box. And even though the mind cannot understand, the being is. And the being is more powerful than the thoughts and can shape experience. And so even the thoughts that question that, put them in the box. And know that questions don't outrank vibration. And radiate and breathe into the feeling. Breathe into it. And breathe out of it. The feeling of this experience. And you are experiencing it. Therefore, it is happening because you are experiencing it. And experience it every day or a month. This little 10-second movie that you surround around your body. Get used to how that experience feels in your body. See, part of it is just getting used to how that experience feels because we've been watching other movies instead of creating our own. And then feel the gratitude of experiencing and expressing this experience. And breathing each breath into that gratitude. And then taking that box of thoughts and loving it and handing it off in whatever way you imagine to the universe for it to love that energy and transform it. And that all its questions and curiosities and fears and protections are transmuted into the energy of this experience happening as it is already happening. You're already experiencing it. And they were a part of gifting that, and they can be transmuted into supportive energy. And in this space of gratitude and the feeling of this experience as it is happening, there's no protection that is needed. And even as you may feel a little disturbance because something goes, but what if? Ah, yes. Of course, darling, that little thought is present. Let me love that. You're fine with me. You don't have to be afraid because I'm going to love me in each and every experience. And I'm going to write my own books and write my own story and live in a conscious expression of imagination creating my world and my life. That's a big bunch of words, but what it boils down to is we've always been creating. We've always been contributing. We just weren't conscious about it. And those addictions that we had, we don't have to be ashamed of those because we were striving for a feeling, because we know feelings create. Feelings, imagination, expression is how we create. And we were finding our best way to it. So let us now have joy at everything that brought us to this moment. Let us love it all. And let us rest in this experience that we are having. And be grateful and joyful. And let it go. And return to the breath and the stillness. In the presence of our own being. And whenever we wish to experience our desire, we'll play that little movie. Feel the experience, feel the gratitude, and let it go.